we too lost to find a better way? In the heart of Accra, whispers turn to cries as youth chase jobs that vanish before their eyes. A nation blessed, yet we're blinded by our own light, forgetting the struggles that stalk us by night. Policy stale, governance but a shadow show. In fields of innovation, nothing seems to grow. Education, housing, over-politicized. Galamsey is our legacy, politically strategized. As minds flee, seeking lands to offer more, who will remain to heal the scars that we bore? In this election's light, there's a sliver of hope, a chance to cut loose these binding ropes. Watching our love fade away, feel prices soar and families fray. In the dance of parts, our dreams they betray. Are we too lost to find a better way? Ghana, I'm watching our love fade away. Fuel prices soar and families foray. In the dance of power, it's our dreams they betray. Are we too lost to find a better way? You see, if we don't rally the spirit that our anthem sings, if we don't reignite the hope that peace can bring, from Accra to Kumasi to Tamale to Ho to Takrady to Kuforidia to Sunyai to Wa, our voices must rise. We must unlock the promise seen through our wiser eyes. What are we doing? Where are we going? The leaders are there, yes, but what is our role to play in all of this? Ghana, our love for you is fading. It's dying. Fuel prices soar, things are not so great. Families are fraying at the very fabric with which they are made. And in the corridors of power, they are dancing and playing and joking with our future. What is there for us? They betray our hopes. They betray our dreams. Tell me, are we too lost to find a better way? Ghana, are we too lost to find a better way?
All right. Happy Uncle.
Yes, David.
Yeah, beautiful. Come join me here.
All righty, all right.
Let's have a
Please, a round of
conversation.
applause for
Yes.
Pampa in a different light.
Yes, I know, right? Well done, 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 well done. That's beautiful. All right.
Good morning.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm well, I'm well.
You're looking
I'm
very
good.
royally, matriarchy.
Yeah, the matriarch is here.
And welcome to you too. How are you doing, Thelma?
Great, thank
wonderful,
you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, so you are with Oxfam.
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
tell us a little bit about what you do at Oxfam and why you're part of, this conversation this morning.
Okay, so I'm the Gender Justice Advisor with Oxfam in Ghana, an NGO that has been in existence for the past 30 years. And our areas of interest have been in the just economies, which includes, work around our mining and extractive industries and the agricultural value chain. We also look at accountable governance, how we can equip citizens to hold their governments accountable. And then where I come in is the gender justice and social inclusion pillar, where we look at ways to ensure that we have a gender equitable society, and the place of the marginalized and the vulnerable are seen in how we incorporate and socialize all things that pertain to our most vulnerable people in our society.
Okay.
So when it comes to, you know, issues around gender equality and injustice, we've tried to find innovative ways to, you know, tackle those core issues that are part of our structure as a society. We have a very patriarchal society, I must mention.
Yes, yes, very.
And when you talk about trying to undo some of these social norms, traditional norms that have in a way created barriers for women, girls, boys, and persons living with disabilities, you're talking about social change, behavioral change. And what better way to convey the message and to have people leave certain spaces of advocacy with much deep reflection about how they can influence their space and drive the change themselves than the arts.
Wow.
So this is our second year running, right? Yes, of supporting the Matriarch's Verse.
Wow.
And the timing couldn't have been great for me because we are just getting into 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And this is a UN, you know, commemorative campaign, and globally the theme is Beijing after 30 years. We went to Beijing.
Wow.
It's been 30 years plus already, yes.
Right.
Amazing.
As a society, we need to sit and reflect on what we've been able to achieve post-Beijing. So advocacy from the 25th of November till the 10th of December, which is the Human Rights Day, where we'll be focusing on gender equality, sexual and gender-based violence, and other forms of, you know, gender-related areas. So Apioko's the Matriarch's Verse is very timely because we always try to find ways to, you know, tap into arts, look at music, literature, poetry, dance, the culinary arts, to push some of these issues across.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, Apioko.
Yes, David.
Yeah, so, okay, so first of all, you refer to yourself as a seasonal poet. Explain.
As a
seasonal
poet?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm a poet.
Okay.
And I mean, it's as simple as that.
Okay.
What I don't call myself is a spoken word artist.
Okay.
And you know, there are lots of debates
Because
about this. What
yeah.
is poetry, what is spoken word. But as a literary scholar, I can tell you that spoken word art is an art craft on its own. It has its origins in Africa. I mean, the late Professor Atukwe Okan is actually known as the godfather of spoken word. It's very interesting. And so what we hear, what we see in the Western world, they pick some of these things from our very own here in Ghana and on the continent. You'd be surprised to learn that. But poetry is a broader, you know, umbrella. And then there's performance poetry. What I do with my poetry is I write what I call verse journalism.
Verse journalism.
I didn't coin the term. It came from Gwendolyn Brooks, a very strong African-American woman who was a Pulitzer Prize winner many years ago, strong feminist. But what she said was that, look, like, you know, Thelma has outlined, because they were dealing with a lot of civil rights issues, gender issues at the time, even looking at suffrage for women, getting people to be able to vote, people of marginalized, you know, situations to be able to vote and all that, and have a voice. Art and literature in particular became a vehicle that was soft enough to push the powerful narratives that they were pushing without necessarily offending people. It's art. I didn't call your name, you know, but I've said what I've had to say.
Yes.
And so what verse journalism is we document the feeling of the fact. When we do, we're in a media house, when we do journalistic work, we're looking very much at the facts, the figures, the statistics. But sometimes within all of that, we lose the humanity of the stories beneath that. What verse journalism does is it takes the stories, it humanizes them, and then puts them, you know, out there for everybody to see. So you're not just seeing, an example is COVID-19. We're seeing statistics. This number of people have passed away. This number of people have received vaccines. This number of people have been infected, all of that. But we weren't hearing names. We weren't hearing stories. When you put that into poetry, you can now tell the story of the man who missed a call from his wife's doctor in the emergency room. And by the time he got there, she had passed away from COVID. You can hear the story of a young person who couldn't go to school for 3 years because they didn't have access to digital tools to do online school, even though that was supposed to have been solving the problem. Those are stories. So that's what verse journalism does. And for me, I come from the tradition of the late Professor Amataidu, the great. Of course, I've mentioned Professor Atukwe Okai, Professor Kofi Anidoho, Professor Kofi Awuno, Ifwa Sutherland.
Yes.
These people, and particularly Amataidu, say that as a writer, you can't afford to be just creating art. You have to be utilitarian. You have to talk about issues. You have to embarrass. You have to expose. You have to celebrate. And you have to inform through your work. And so that's what I do.
Amazing, amazing. Now, this Matrix verse experience that we're going to have, you call it Roots and Blossoms.
Roots and Blossoms.
What's up with that?
So I've been thinking a lot.
Okay.
About Ghana and the continent and even the diaspora. In Ghana, we've done the year of return, we've done beyond the return. What does it mean when we say, we want to succeed as a nation? And then why are we not succeeding? We have brilliant people. We may not have the best of structures. We are still learning, but there are things that we have and we're not making use of them. So I've just been thinking, you know what? If we go back to our roots, regardless of what the situation is, whether it has to do with how we educated our people some time ago, whether it has to do with the food we're eating some time ago, whether it has to do with how we even lived in community. Because look, there's a time when we respected women more than when we do now. All those things. If we go back to our roots, maybe if we go to the ancestral wisdom, we can learn something, apply it in our contemporary time, and then we can blossom. So that's roots and blossoms. But it's also a double entendre.
Okay.
We're dealing with a lot of climate issues globally, but at home. A few months ago, one piece of a tomato was 5 cedis.
Yes.
And people were struggling to make their light soup and grind their pepper for their kinky. And those are the real issues. You talk about the economy, but when we don't look at the basics of it, how it's affecting the individual, we lose the plot. So that happened. Now we have Galamsey, biggest conversation. And it's a big conversation for a reason. For over 10 years, we've been dealing with this thing. No one is grabbing the bull by the horn. And now people have built communities and economies around Galamsey. And we are struggling to shut it down. Meanwhile, what is it doing? Destroying our water bodies, destroying our ecology. And I keep saying that ecology is not just about, the water we're drinking and the nice plants we're seeing. Sometimes even the insects that have begun to bite us and give us diseases. They have come because the insects that were supposed to feed on them, or the fish that were supposed to feed on them, we've killed them.
I'm telling you.
With our actions, and now we are bearing the brunt. So that's Roots and Blossoms, going back to the knowledge, the heritage of what we're doing, and then blossoming, but also paying attention to the fact that if we don't till the roots properly, we don't guard them, we don't treat them with love and respect, we will not blossom.
Okay, before you give us the details of what's happening and when all the details, how people can be part of it, Thelma, I want you to comment on what you just heard from Apioko, Roots and Blossom.
Yes. So for us, when we look at the fact that there's that analogy of a plant, the roots being grounded in the soil is a place of darkness, despair, and then the blossoming is a place of hope. So even though we are addressing the very difficult issues around gender, climate justice, and how it impacts us from a grim place, there's also that space where we are touching on the hope component of it. For tomorrow, what can we aspire for? How would our tomorrow look like if we are able to take some of these issues and run with them? So it's not all grim and macabre. There's that element of hope in all this advocacy as well. And the fact that we are typifying and actually putting names to some of these statistics around the social issues we face also humanizes the experience, and people are able to personalize those journeys and then reflect on how best they can also plug in and then drive the change. So it's a very exciting space to we find ourselves as an INGO. Yes.
All right. So give us the full details, right? So it's happening tomorrow?
Yes, it is. Okay. Tomorrow, the 16th of November. Gates open at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And we want to start at 6:30.
Okay.
Now, here's why. It's not just about performance. There's a whole curated experience that we will have our guests walk through even before we sit down in the performance arena. So we're trying to create sort of like a community center kind of thing where stories are told and issues are addressed, going back to the roots, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing it at the National Theatre, and we're doing something very interesting at the National Theatre. So people should come and see it. It's not what they're expecting, I know. So come in at 6:30.
Okay.
You go around, experience all these things. There are 10 key social issues we're addressing. One of them, very big on the list, is sexual and gender-based violence. Our babies are being raped.
Critical.
Young people, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And so there's a human installation which will address that.
Okay.
We are also looking at our relationship with our Greek. And so there's going to be another human installation, human platters. So human beings that are holding food on them. It's very interesting. And then come and understand or rethink how food, it sustains us, yes, but we are also very important to the sustenance of our food, basically. Then we will also address, in general, social justice. Pretty much all the pieces, everything you see on the night will address social justice. We have a photo exhibition from you, David, you're with your pseudonym Kweku David, which is very much sticking to the theme Roots and Blossoms. And we'd like people to see that. We are also going to be addressing, in terms of themes, the diaspora and how we can collaborate with them so that we can, again, go to the roots and then come back. You know, in the past, we've spoken about brain drain versus brain gain. And this time when a lot of people are jackbuying, we need to hold fast to those who want to come home so that at least those of us who want to be here and who can brave it out, we can build the nation that we want to build or that we must be building. We'll be looking at youth unemployment, education, literacy, how young people are being disadvantaged and some of the things that we can do. We'll be looking at innovation. And you know, when you think of innovation, a lot of the time we're talking about tech. Innovation can be something very basic. And there are things that we've researched, and we've worked with some culinary artists, and come and taste things, experience things, and see the innovative things that people are doing. And then some people, volunteers if you like, will get to do a sip and soil. So you're actually going to have people plant things. So you understand what they mean. Not, you know, in Ghana, not a lot of people garden.
Not a sip and paint, but a sip and soil.
The sip and paint too, they will come to that.
It's also there.
Yes, but there's a sip and soil. It's actually going to be potting plants.
Plants.
And the reason is this: a lot of people don't garden, and so we're partnering with the garden and flower movement, and also the sip and soil, movement. There's a whole movement for that. And what we're going to do, you see a lot of plants around, but the sip and soil ladies will come, give you what you need, gloves, everything, and then we'll guide you through what you are planting. So it's symbolic for planting the seeds for tomorrow, but also letting you understand that, okay, so this is what it's like when soil is fresh, when the seed is fresh, it's virgin, and so we need to protect this kind of thing. You know, so there are lots of interesting things happening. We're addressing so many different issues.
Wow.
Yeah, so many.
It's exciting. It's exciting. So can people get tickets at the gate?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
But I'd advise you get them ahead of time because we have limited seating.
Okay.
For something as experiential as this, we don't want large, over the top numbers. Otherwise, you lose the connectivity. And poetry needs that intimacy. So the earlier you reach out, don't be a Ghanaian. The earlier you reach out, the better.
I like that. Yeah.
But we will have some other gates if there are some available.
There are some seats available.
Yes.
Okay. So I see a number here. It's 027
That's right.
143 0082.
Precisely.
All right. So you can call that number 027 143 0082. Okay. To reserve your tickets, to get your tickets for the event tomorrow. All right. Thank you very much, Thelma.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now,
I want to say a big thank you to
go ahead.
Our partners and sponsors. So UNESCO. UNESCO, amazing. All the way from Paris. It's been amazing. Of course, Oxfam. As for Oxfam, I can't say enough about Thelma and how she's taken it personal, And then we also have Lioness Communications. We have Beyond the Return as well. We've got the Garden and Flower Movement. I've mentioned them. ChannelOne TV and City FM. As for the family, they forever hold us down. And we're forever grateful for that. And then, last but not the least, the National Theatre. And it's not just a space. We've got all three resident companies, the National Symphony Orchestra, the National Dance Company, National Dance Group also joining us to do some things. And then, of course, Kwampa, who will be,
will be exciting.
On the night.
I can't wait. All right, super. Thank you very much, Thelma. Thelma Hayford, with Gender Advisor with Oxfam Ghana, and Apioko, who is the Head of Programs Production right here at ChannelOne TV. And let's take a look at this performance some time ago with Apioko of the Matriarch verse, and then we'll come and enjoy some more poetry from her.
Ago. Ago. I'm the royal town crier. I'm the queen of my poetic woman queendom. I'm the goddess of poetic African savannas, jungles, rivers, and oceans. I'm the lioness, I'm the tigress, I'm the Ghanaian mermaid. I'm the matriarch of modern poetic nations. I'm poetry incarnate, and my pen fears no sword, no man, no woman, no card, no beast, no plague. Forget the muse, I'm the muse. How do we typically respond to the sound of the national anthem? The Ghana national anthem, Ghana's national anthem, our national anthem. How do we typically respond to our national anthem when no one is watching? Ago, ago. Carrying a market basket full of love, joy, ecstasy, and care. But the sun's warm golden rays had toasted the blood and bones that covered the love, the joy, the ecstasy, and the care. Crispy and toasty like the tasty coating of Awonia's kina. He would carry her bag. He would pay for her lunch. He would buckle her shoes. He would proofread her weekly reports. He would cry her cries and laugh her laughs. Ago. I'm the royal town crier. I'm the queen of my poetic woman queendom. I'm the goddess of poetic African savannas, jungles, rivers, and oceans. I am the lioness, I am the tigress, and I am the Ghanaian mermaid. I'm the matriarch of modern poetic nations. I am poetry incarnate. And my pen fears no sword, no man, no woman, no beast, no plague. Forget the muse, for I am the muse. Ago. I come from a land of gold. I come from green fields that dance to winds. I come from skies that are as wide as the heart of a mother. I come from the call of waves along shores that cradle our dreams. Yet in our bones, we feel the crackling. We feel the murmur that drips like slow poison. Knowing that the 7th of December approaches like a storm testing the strength of deep old roots, the weight of all that we stand upon, Ago. Remember those nights not so long ago, when flames kissed the sky, hungry, and streets trembled with the footsteps of neighbors who are no longer called brothers. We watched lives dissolve in the fire of rage. Voices were swallowed by chaos. Dreams were undone in a heartbeat, Ago. Are we so eager to feed the earth with the blood of our own people that we preach everything but peace, Ago? What does it mean to call ourselves one people? Is it not the warmth that spills from the shared cooking pots and the coolness from the shared water pots? Is it not the hands that built the songs that rise from suffering and joy? What legacy remains when hate breeds in our hearts? And our flag that was once vibrant dims in the haze of betrayal, Ago. Look, our children are watching. In their innocence, they hold the question that we seem to have forgotten. Will we leave them a country still breathing? Or will we leave them with a memory lost in dust and ashes? When a nation offers peace as a sacrifice on the altar of selfish political ambition, the streets grow teeth that devour their own people. Walls weep red, and innocence turns to cinders, drifting, nameless, in the air, and we hear the cries of mothers, hollow and endless. Their children are swallowed by the beast that we have become. The rivers once danced, and now they run thick with unspoken memories and unmarked graves. The silence that rises to fill the air in the aftermath of violence and civil unrest, that silence is the sinister weight of regret. For a past that they can no longer touch in their loved ones, no longer feel in their joy and hope. no longer smell and taste in their street food, their kinke, their wache, their gobe, their tuzafi, their hausa cocoa, their boiled corn with coconut pieces, no longer see beyond destruction and death that litters the streets of Ghana. Politicians, leaders, and every heart that swells with pride for your country, for our country, know this. Power that is built on broken spirits is power that crumbles because the foundation is weak. Streets and seats and titles will fade, but the scars of violence, they sink deep into the skin, the blood, and the bones, etching stories that cannot be rewritten. Ago. And so I call on you, every hand, every voice, every vote. Let peace be your anthem. For we are bound by this soil and sky. No ballot should hold the price of our unity. No promise is worth the destruction of the peace that we hold together, that we hold dear for ourselves. If we falter, if greed blinds us, if fear divides us, the future will remember us as the ones who saw the fire and chose not to douse it. Ago. But I believe in us. I believe in a Ghana that rises above evil. I believe in a people who know the weight of peace. I believe in a people who refuse to be sold into anger, a people who guard democracy, a people who shield this land with all that they are. And so, it's 8th December. Now, tomorrow, let the dawn of a new day break with laughter and not cries, weeping, not sorrow. Let us write our song, one of resilience and truth. Let our hearts carry this prayer, this promise. We will hold on to our peace through the storms, through the call, and we will do it for Ghana, for tomorrow, and for us all. My name is Apioka.